Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Bone podcast. All right. Today, we're talking all about Roaring Kitty. Dude, the guy is bringing the Memecoin super cycle.
Start the YouTube. Start the YouTube.
It started.
It says scheduled on mine still.
Signal?
Now it's live.
All right, we're live. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a hiccup there on the tech front. I don't know if it was me or Easy, but we're going to be talking Roaring Kitty, whether or not the Memecoin super cycle has arrived, if it's right around the corner. We're also talking about Fantasy.top strategy. There's a tournament coming on today. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little tired of the Fantasy.top jibber jab, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk a little bit about it. There has been a little bit of a dump on the cards after they won the jackpot. We're going to break all of that down, and we're going to talk. Speaking of dumps, we're going to talk about the Blur farming just disaster going on Blur, on ETH and Blast. It's nasty. It is nasty. If you're listening in on Twitter Space or YouTube, quick reminder, Easy and I are doing a Fantasy.top stream. It's a little bit of a power hour for 30 minutes right before the tournament today at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can go. We would love to see you there if you would like, because it should be a pretty good stream. Sig, how are we doing? How are you feeling post a jackpot win?
I got less than last time simply because I have less cards at the moment. Feeling good that I am I want to say like on a hot streak for the jackpot win, except those penguins. Like picking the NFTs is going to be really hard. But it's interesting, like it brings into the question, could either Fantasy or Pac-Moon win for a third time? Considering like we know that like meme coins are prioritized over NFTs. So I'm thinking, well, either a jackpot's going to win on some new meme coin that comes out, which I'm guessing is a given. But to go back to Pac-Moon and Fantasy, I could see it winning a third time later on, because we've still got, 2 weeks potentially of jackpot. So he's either going to have to rotate to the NFT collections more, or he's going to have to recycle new coins. There isn't that much on Blast. So that leaves me with like the most simplest explanation that there's a third time for potentially Pac-Moon or Fantasy.top.
Very Nick, good to see you in here. Real quick before we get started, what the hell is everyone saying? Cat coins to the moon, cats. What the hell happened to Nub? Holy shit! I hadn't checked the price in like a week.
Is the Twitter still suspended?
The Twitter's still suspended.
That's why.
Holy shit, dude! What do we have to do to get it? It was at 80 million literally less than 2 weeks ago. That is a week ago. That's a terrible.
Clemente, yesterday when you spoke about GME at 55 million, I jumped on that with speed, and I have just ridden that all the way up to this morning. I took out my initials, and it's just hovering around 110, I think now.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's been on a rock. That's been a ripper.
If you look at the technicals of that chart there, Signal, what you're gonna notice. Go back to the other one. Yeah. So basically, this is a classic. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a classic piss missile.
You only took your whole initial out.
I took out my initials, and I'm just sitting on it for now because I think like Roaring Kitty's going to do more.
He's going to tweet at 11 a.m. Eastern time today.
He's going to do more. So like I'm just I mean, I might close my position, but I mean he literally tweeted. So yesterday we were talking about it, and so he's been alive, I say, because of the hiatus that he took for 48 hours.
Take out some of your gain at least. Like why not take out like half of it or something?
Nick,
good, but I'm sitting comfy on this.
We're not paper handers, Nick. We're not paper handing here.
Nick, we can stay unrealistic more than you can stay liquid, okay?
Yeah.
And also as well, you have to see like there's been a lot of halting on the GameStop shares, and I think this actually gives the meme coin more propulsion, because people will be like, well, fuck this, like I want the gains. I want the gains of GameStop. So are you better off being in the share where potentially halting has been stopped, and we've seen how this plays out? Or are you better off going into the meme coin and just actually letting the market do what the market wants to do? So I feel good right now.
I just wanted to do a quick sort of impersonation of Clemente DJing. Ready?
Okay.
The music playing?
Yeah.
Hey, this is the best part. This is the best part. Get ready. This is the best part right here. And then it's just like a regular. Like, it's not like it was the best part.
Oh,
Like instead
Nick's
it's
a
like
big EDM guy. You can tell.
a random part of the song. This is the best part. And mama just came running.
No, the part that I was talking about was the chorus, but where Post Malone's like, "Hey, I had some hell." Hey, yeah, shit. That's the best part of the song.
It gets the people going.
It gets the people going. And yesterday, what happened was Rufus the Soul, the song we were listening to, I think it's called Inner Bloom. It was a part that goes like, doom, 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 doom. Best part of the song. Best part of the song.
Dude, I think you may be musically challenged.
Yeah,
I think that
so.
may be the situation that's going on here.
I think you're musically artistic, but instead of artistic, you had the U in there.
All right. Anyways, a signal.
Just a quick DJ tip. I'm just saying most people don't like the radio DJ does not usually interrupt the song to be like, all right, guys, get ready for this part of the song because this is about to get really good. Like that's just not how that normally happens.
All right. Well, I didn't know people could hear that necessarily. I thought it was like a behind the scenes, I was talking to Signal and Easy. I wasn't saying it for.
You didn't know that you were live on the mic?
Well, I didn't think I had that hot of a mic. I thought it was like, it was, you could hear it in the background. But anyways, I'll take it into consideration for next time. But Signal, let's kick things off. Take it away with the weather report whenever you're ready.
Absolutely, folks. It is Tuesday. It is May 14th. Let's see what's been going on in the markets. We've got that ETH market volume coming at 11.6 million. Solana market volume coming at 2.7. And Ordinals 2.2. Onto the market leaders, the imaginary ones, they're down to 0.65 ETH after they had their bubble token launch today. Launch today. Over on Solana, Mall Street, that is up to 0.8 Sol. And Campai Pandas, they're down to 26.8 Sol. Then finally, over on the Ordinal side, you got those puppets. They're down to 0.19. Looking tasty. On the crypto roundup, the majors continue to with Bitcoin down about 1% to 61,900, Ethereum down to 2,900, and Solana is up to 147. And then on the meme coin side, you got Roaring Kitty sparked a run on related meme coins. Kitty, that is up to 26 million market cap. GME, that's up 290% to 150 million market cap. And AMC, that is up 1,100% to a 24 million market cap. It is cooking on the Roaring Kitty side. Over on the past 24 hours, firstly, following up on the Sunday's return, Roaring Kitty posted 12 videos yesterday as meme stocks and meme coins absolutely gigasent. GameStop stock, which was priced at $17 on Sunday, gained 74% yesterday and it's up another 120% to a pre-market of $67. Secondly, over on the gaming side of things, we got Yuga Labs CEO Gaga providing an update on the Dookie Dash yesterday as the game continues testing in the Philippines and Australia. We've got some new features coming up. We've got new maps, game modes, tournaments, and daily quests. The upgrades targeting mass market appeal with goal of breaking beyond the Web3 space. And then finally, Fantasy announced that on Thursday's Commons Only Sub Tournament, we're going to have a special rule set. Each of the deck 5 cards entering the tournament need to have a 20-star limit. This caused a market run on low-star cards that have the potential to outperform previous results. That is all for the weather report. Market's still cooking. Back to you in the studio.
Let's go.
It is coming through there, Clemente.
Was it my sound? Oh, the little telegram. Yeah, I just turned that off. Sorry, that was a unprofessional move. It won't happen again. But some stories from the Daily Bone newsletter. It's delivered every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern to your inbox. You guys are distracting me today. First story. This one is interesting. I really quickly want to talk about this while I pull it up. But this is all right. Sorry, I was trying to pull it up. Pudgy Penguins announced that Pudgy toys are now available in GameStop. Was this just a coincidence and they weren't even going to announce it? Was this a joke that Pudgy Penguins are doing a collab with GameStop here?
I have no idea.
Nope. Great timing from them. Anyways, okay. Well, next story.
Over to GameStop.
Yeah, run. Next story. Drift Protocol announced the Drift token will go live Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern. So that'll be something to watch for an upcoming little token launch. I've seen.
Why do we care about that?
Potential airdrop. You get to make some cash. I'm not eligible for this, but I saw some people that were, and they got.
Who is eligible?
People who utilize Drift.
Okay, so basically nobody.
I'm eligible.
Hey,
well, of course you are. Okay.
I mean, Drift, I'm just saying. This was in my airdrop thread in 2023 of March. where I said, and I posted in the Bodogos and sent it to you guys, where I said, use this Dex. They've been teasing points. I don't know how well it's going to do, to be honest, but we've been early on this one. Real early. It was just a Dex. Like, it's just trading on-chain perpetuals, futures, etc. A little bit of leverage, and you can rack up some easy points. And
We're
it was not
digging
crowded.
deep for some free money here at this point in time.
Yeah.
You got to get in the
it's getting-
trenches.
we're getting a little muddy.
Someone said, how did you sell all your drift already? Are you selling it pre-market? What the hell is going on? And next story. This is over
10x.
on Imaginary Ones. They announced that their bubble token is now available for trading. This was very interesting. It holds a $140 million market cap. The Imaginary Ones NFT is down 40%, however. So we'll see how this plays out, but certainly worth monitoring. I know it's been a hype for quite some time, and they've dropped various games. So pretty impressive. Next story, MoonPay contributes to the Stand With Crypto political committee, which engages with government officials who help push crypto forward. I believe this is Coinbase's maybe working with it, but I know they've been talking about stuff like this. But last story of the day, Dbridge Finance, DiviBet, and Exchange.art are announced as Jupiter Launchpad's #3 project. And very last thing before we move on to the meat and potatoes of the show, as Pio says, what you need to watch for today. This is things you need to be tracking, monitoring that are going to be happening later today. We have the Fantasy.top main tournament entries closing at 3 p.m. Eastern today. Easy and Signal. Easy, are you entering into this one or are you passing?
I'm passing.
Okay.
Why?
Signal?
Yeah, me too. I'm passing
I
on the
only
main.
have common cards. That's it. And I don't feel like I can compete with only common cards. So my thesis on it's pretty straightforward. Like, I could enter just a garbage lineup to try to just get the points, even if I place like last. But I'd rather sell into any sort of supply squeeze or pump that we get.
Oh, so if it's in the deck, you can't sell?
No, not till the tournament's over.
Well, that's insightful. One other thing I'm sort of wondering about here is why the hell didn't I earn anything on that fantasy top drop?
Did you not?
Probably not. Probably not. Didn't click some stupid fucking buttons.
Oh, you didn't export your wallet, submit it into Blast, connect it, and then press the 14 buttons.
Dude,
I
this
will
is
say we
ridiculous.
did walk through how to do this as well.
Briefly, and then it was like after the call we'll walk you through it, and then never did.
No,
That's on
we
me,
spoke
Chief.
about it. Look, we spoke about it on the show after the first jackpot win because so many people didn't do it. So
Didn't
we
happen.
spent about 5 to 10 minutes talking about how you should do it.
Now Signal's turning into a liar. That's ridiculous.
I'm not. I swear Nick, honestly, we spoke about how to add this to your deck after the first win. You just have to listen, man. Just listen to us. Listen to us
I just
three.
didn't
We're
do the
gonna
thing.
make you even more rich.
So what do I? Oh my god, this is just how much would I have gotten? Probably a couple.
How
of
many
gold,
cards
huh?
do you have?
4.
20 gold. A little less.
200 buckaroos around there.
Oh my god. So I don't know what do I need to do in order to.
So
On Fantasy.top, click the ETH logo at the top, the very top of the page.
Yeah. So I have the
click-
wallet address.
Yeah. So then press security, export wallet.
Security export wallet.
Click the ETH logo.
Oh, I
Literally
see.
click the ETH logo. Then
Export
press
wallet.
security, export wallet, open up MetaMask or Rabby. I've been using Rabby recently. Way better experience than MetaMask, we'll say. Then what you do is you import that private key. What you just copied is a private key. You import it. Now you have the wallet. Next step is you go over to blast.io. Click airdrop. On here, hover the mouse over your username and press linked wallets and then link that new wallet. And now you're in.
Wow. That's crazy, dude. Like this is ridiculous, admin.
Yes. Friction's
This-
bullish. Always.
This is so absurd. Anyways, all right.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. We'll bounce back. Nick, I was glad to see that you are not being investigated by the FBI, though. They listed 50 crypto creators who have shilled tickers last
Are you
night.
serious?
Oh, you guys missed this. Yeah,
Let
this
me
happened
see.
last night. Let me send this. Frank D. Gods had quote tweeted the list itself, but Torin Chitra, I'm not familiar with who he is, posted the abstract from it. They did a study that examines the investment value of information provided by crypto influencers or social media influencers covering crypto assets securities on Twitter. And they examined the returns associated with the approximate 36,000 tweets by 180 of the most prominent crypto social media influencers covering 1,600 crypto securities over a 2-year period spanning December 22 to present day.
This is not the FBI. So let's be clear when you're
I thought it was.
articulating what this is.
I thought it was. Then that's my mistake. But they listed all these guys. I don't know anyone on this list.
I know
the Moon Carl, right? I know that name.
Who is that?
Rex Capital we were talking about on the show yesterday.
Yep.
Bybit.
So Bybit was the main one, but Bybit official, which is like, it was weird that they have that account on there. The thing that I found the most weird though was like all these people have a ton of followers when I went and looked after. And it's like very interesting to see this, but no one that was like in the NFT space. Yet I feel like the NFT space is a little more chaotic considering they shield tickers every minute.
Yeah, this is some greasy, legacy crypto stuff right here. I mean, crypto, the name or the word crypto is in almost every name. Nick?
This article is the original research thing from this is April 2023.
Well, why was it posted now?
Because Frank needed something to publish.
And it worked. He got 100,000 impressions.
It says date written February 14th, 2024. Okay, so it's from February.
So then is it the data dating back only to April? I don't know what it is. All I know is when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, Nick's not on here. That's a win for us.
Okay. Well, I'm not chilling shit. It's actually part of one of the biggest problems that people have with me in my DMs. They want me to just chill tokens. And I won't do it. And they're just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
There's a baseline expectation that you're just supposed to do that based on what they want.
Yeah. And so no, that is not the FBI. That is a random research selection. And I think the whole point of that analysis is to determine the effectiveness of their shilling. Like what's the impact? The summary. Well, I'll look up what the summary of the
look it up after you know what was effective. Was Roaring Kitty coming back and posting a video every 30 minutes from 11 to 4 p.m. and then not going live at 7 p.m. I've never been so disappointed in my life to not have somebody go live at their regularly scheduled programming. Ever.
Him doing a live stream would definitely break the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, Roaring Kitty is the man behind the infamous GameStop short squeeze of 2021. He has posted about a dozen videos since his return to social media yesterday. So he had a whole set of directed short edits that he has posted. They've come out roughly every 30 minutes during trading hours. Nick, it looks like you want to get a word in.
Yeah, real quick before we hit that, the conclusion of the report was primary results indicate crypto influencers' tweets are initially associated with positive returns. However, these tweets are followed by significant negative longer horizon returns, suggesting they generate minimal long-term investment value. But I feel like we already know that.
Yeah, I'm down 85% on pups after Ansem tweeted about it.
Yeah, and this is not news to anybody. I mean, just by the nature of bullshit tokens, they're going to go down because they don't actually put any value into the world. Look, in the last 24 hours, GameStop pumped. It's up 120% pre-market today. This thing's going to be trading live in about 5 minutes. It's actually pretty fascinating. That is not the best, the most accurate, chart to use, Clemente, just so you know. But
why?
Because I think that the pre-market, look at the pre-market on that chart.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I'm wrong. Yes, that is an okay number. It's pushing all-time high, which is insane. That basically Roaring Kitty just comes back after 3 years and pushes it almost to all-time high just like that, which is nuts. Because if you guys remember in 2021, getting it to all-time high felt like this insane accomplishment by the Wall Street Bets folks. Like they really had to grind it out. Trading halted on this 20 times yesterday, basically. I think Robinhood halted it. Trading was halted several times. Do you think that this squad and Roaring Kitty will realize that it's smarter to do this with crypto assets because the trading won't be halted? Crazy idea.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to open back up, right?
No, it's never going to
open-
open back up. It's
What do you
over.
mean?
I think
The halt was regular market halts. It's based on volatility. There's predefined rules based on how much of a percentage it moves compared to float. So they had, I think, 4 halts or 7 halts. I forget which one yesterday. But there wasn't anything out of the ordinary on that. They didn't stop trading on anything. And I actually got a push notification today that Robinhood shared that GME was available for 24-hour trading on Robinhood.
Wow,
I
so they're
saw that
leaning
too.
in.
But they take a huge fee, and it's a terrible fill. So they end up just printing because they're catching FOMO from retail buying into it. That's like the one thing that I did notice was like, okay. But the halts weren't anything out of the ordinary. Like if you remember during the COVID crash, the S&P got halted 3 times in one day. Like it's very standard for how they actually did the halt on GME. I don't think they're going to all of a sudden be like, let's just go buy GME on Solana because they can't stop us there. Like it has a much bigger punch in the face to push like a stock. Like we see crypto people push price of crypto assets and we're like, damn, that person has influence. Roaring Kitty being able to literally send a ticker to billions of dollars in valuation
Of an
where many people
actual
spec-
publicly traded company.
publicly traded company, billions of dollars in valuation from just his personality is like, that's unheard of.
I don't
yeah,
think
it's
he's going to do the stock thing. I really don't. Like we saw how that played out, and just given the environment that we're in now, it just makes more sense. I think like if this is like the set Terminator 2 or GameStop 2, like why would you play that story out on the stock market where you saw like how much the institutions basically confluenced to just stop the momentum that GameStop had, and all these people got completely just screwed over, not being able to exit positions. I mean, that's why Robinhood lost so many users at that time. So for me, it just makes sense. Isn't like this second part of this movie happens in the meme coin market.
So here's a counter. His position was actually one based on like analysis that he did versus like you're not doing analysis on whiff token. Like that
He wasn't
that's
blindly aping. It was like very analytical on the float and everything else.
Yeah, he front run Michael Berry.
So my assumption here is that like he actually has some other analysis that his username was deep fucking value. The whole point was I've done analysis on this thing. I don't know that his intention was just pump a stock. Was not the basis of where this actually all started.
It wasn't at all. It had nothing to do with that. It also was not like an FU to the to the legacy
the
stock
hedge funds or
market or the
anything.
hedge funds.
Literally
That's
none
what
of it.
Wall Street bets when they got involved. They were trying to push that forward. If anybody thinks that Wall Street bets will be attracted to GME on Solana, I feel like they're completely out to lunch. Those are crypto people buying that. Wall Street bets people are not going to care about a ticker on Solana that has nothing to do with anything.
Like how many times have we seen a narrative or a story happen in the mainstream media, and for that to play out in the stock market and the meme coin market? It's happened several times over the last 12 months. So even if the origin of that of whatever meme coin it is doesn't originate from the WSB group, it can come from somewhere else. And if it gains enough momentum, that narrative can play out on that specific token. And that's what I'm talking about. It will essentially become a beta play to whatever Roaring Kitty has. There'll be a beta play to that. And I think that could be more interesting than being in the stock. If he even has a stock play, I would rather do a beta play than try and be in a stock in this current situation.
Well, you're a crypto person and you're thinking like a crypto person, but the Wall Street bets people are not going to buy GME on Solana. That's just not what they're going to do. I mean,
well, they'll trade options is what they're going to do, which I think would be the place to make money out of all of this. That said, you would have had to known that he was coming back in order to make the trade, or promptly after, like, go buy some wild out of the money option.
Or just make the bet that eventually GameStop would pump again as a meme stock, just like how, you make the bet that Dogecoin is going to pump next cycle or something. If you did like a call option that expires like multiple years out, the chart's ridiculous. If you look at the chart, like he tweeted and the thing's just a piss missile up.
I mean, that's what the chart, when it broke out before, it went from, looks like December 31st until January. So it took a month. Now it took 2 days to do the same thing, which is pretty crazy.
Well,
No,
I
it's
saw
com-
someone.
yeah.
I saw someone talk. Basically, that they're like, this is the same thing that's happening as of 3 years ago, but now there's like 2 or 3 times more money in circulation. So it's like, oh, it's going to get even crazier. And then obviously we saw OSF talk about Doge right after the GME hit an all-time high, just absolutely ripping. So he thinks meme coins are right around the corner, or meme coin season is right around the corner. And then Elio Trades was also saying that he thinks cat meme coins are going to outperform the dogs, which is interesting.
Well, that's
Which is
interesting
funny
for
because
sure.
that's literally the sketch that we did with the tech CEO was literally that thesis. We were like, yo, dogs are played out, man. You got to go with the cats now as your official meme coin advisor. That's
I
pretty
think
hilarious.
the Wall Street Bets people will buy Dogecoin, and maybe they'll get attracted to like some of the new majors like WIF and stuff like that, for sure.
It's
And
what
I
they can
think
buy on Coinbase. Like WIF is probably one of the better ones to look at. Like absolutely. If Bonk is interesting, I guess you could get into an argument there. But if they do it, like if a cat coin gets listed on there, that's the one that they're gonna focus on. Like the guy's name is Roaring Kitty. Like that's the entire thesis.
didn't even think of that. That is a big deal. What cat coins are on? Well, I mean, we'll have to see.
Popcat, Nub. There's nothing like actually major listed on there, which kind of sucks. It's mostly dogs.
I was literally trying. I was like, okay, I messaged Easy and Ray. I was like, should I buy Popcat? I didn't realize this thing's at a $500 million market cap. Like Popcat's strong here. I thought I was getting in at like 100 mil. This thing's already pumped. But it's the lead, and correct me if I'm wrong, Easy, it is the leading cat coin, right? And then there's Michi.
Michi, Popcat, Mew, and Nub was. But yeah, like those are kind of the big 3 or 4.
It's a wild time for sure. I saw one tweet that pointed out, who was it by? I can't think of who it was by. Maybe Joe McCann, but I think I'm actually wrong about that.
Bitcoin person.
Sorry?
I said some Bitcoin person. Didn't you?
Well, no, it's not a Bitcoin related tweet. It pointed out that meme coins like were the only crypto assets that were actually performing well right now. And the message was basically like, have you still not figured out how this cycle is going to go? Do you still think that your actual, value providing network chain is going to outperform a picture of a dog? Like, and I feel like it's true. Like the normal people are very interested in buying meme coins. Nick, my tech CEO guys, they're obsessed with meme coins. They love the idea of the meme coins. That's what people are interested in. They love the meme coins thing. They just do.
Well, it's one of the only places you can make 1,000 X's in a single day. Like that's the thing is like, even with options, like GME, someone bought, I want to say $36,000 worth of GME before Roaring Kitty came back like 4 or 5 days ago. It was worth 2.3 million. Like there's people who literally turn $100 into 250 grand on a meme coin in 48 hours. Like
wow, look at
the
Pepe
volatility
right
gets
there.
insane. It's
New
pumping
all-time
right now.
high for
That's
Pepe.
insane.
4.7 bill.
Yeah, just
That's
running.
insane.
Woo!
That's insane.
God.
That's completely insane.
How much Pepe do you own here, Clemente?
0.
That's
sold
not
off
a surprise at all.
I sold. I just I rotated into Solana. Bonk. I'm actually up. I'm up, so I'm okay.
GME's halted again. Immediately at open. The second the market opened, just 4 minutes in, immediate halt.
Dude,
What's
they're
the
gonna
price
send
of
this
Pepe
thing.
right now?
Look at that. Look at the look at that chart. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the chart pulled up. It's wild. And it's almost at all-time highs. It's nuts.
Yeah,
Look
all-time
at
high
that.
was I think $75.
No, it's over. It's 81.
81.25.
And they casually are almost there in 24 hours. That's insane. That's insane.
Can you imagine any Pepe people that would have had they like just continued to hold? I mean, this is what a run here.
Yeah, I'm
This is
coping. I
incredible.
sold my Pepe. Like when was it? I want to say like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But I'd held it since OSF had been on a show because I forgot that I had it. So I had it for over a year, but then I sold it, and now I'm like, damn, that was a major. No, that's a major one. Shouldn't have sold that. But whatever. I really think like there's going to be so many opportunities in the next 6 to 12 months that that's just staring us in the face right now. And I 100% think that there's going to be like beta plays for this Roaring Kitty. I really, really think that it's going to happen, Pio. It's going to happen, and you don't need Wall Street Bets community to be the ones who are in it.
No, I never said the crypto people are buying GME on Solana right now, but I was saying the Wall Street Bets people, that's not where their mind, they're not gonna be like, oh, let me buy this fake GME on Solana. They're like, what? Like, no, I buy GME. I buy the stock GME. I say F you to the hedge funds. I think they'll buy Doge. I think they'll buy a bunch of other crypto stuff. I just don't see the whole squad rotating randomly into GME on Solana when they're obsessed with the real GME. I mean, GME on Solana doesn't make any sense. It's just a ticker. Clemente?
But it does make sense. Sorry, and this isn't about GME. This has nothing to do with GME. It could be any stock. It does make sense because you take what is happening in the stock market, you replicate it in the meme coin market in some kind of funny way, and that acts as the beta to that acts as the beta to the narrative. It could tank, and it will tank way harder than any stock, but it's going to follow. This is what we're going to see in the next 6 months. I guarantee it. And this is nothing to do with GME. This is just to do with the narratives playing out and overlapping TradFi with meme coins.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm saying GME on Solana is going to go up. I've at no point was I saying it's not going to go up. I'm saying the entire Wall Street Bets army is not going to rotate their focus onto GME on Solana is what I've been saying the whole time. I do think that they should rotate to crypto because they won't have to deal with this halting, the trades halting. But that doesn't necessarily support their FU to, hedge funds and legacy finance. Clemente, are we going to be joined by a guest shortly? Is that happening?
Should be happening in the next couple of minutes. We're working on it. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, look, a little bit unexpected. We're going to be joined by a guest. Clemente.
Did any of you guys, Easy, Nick, Signal Pio, did any of you guys buy the actual stock, the GME stock, or is this no?
I didn't buy it.
Okay.
I don't want to play around with it.
You should buy it right now, Clemente.
I got like $3,000 left in my car sale, dude. Should I just put that right in?
Just plow it in, dude. Just dump it in.
To be fair, I feel like all-time high is programmed. I don't know, Nick. Do you disagree? Like $80, I feel like that's programmed.
Dude, look at this. I would never buy a chart that has a straight line to the top like that. That's never a sustainable run. Like, yeah, he could maybe like trade it for a minute, like basically hop in and try and scalp. But that is
0-day expiration option contract, $82. Let it fly. That's it. 0 DTE, $82 options contracts. Clemente, you've probably never touched an option contract in your life. Let it fly and let's see what happens.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think all-time high is programmed, and I actually the fact that they almost got back to all-time high in 24 hours is completely insane. What if they send the thing to like, I don't know, $200? Pretty wild. For crypto people, it's not like that significant of a gain. People are looking for that boom gain. Book of memes.
I think everyone is. If you can give someone a 4x in a day, I think there's a lot of people that would be interested in that.
Absolutely. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest. It's his second time on the show. He is a legendary, I'm going to go ahead and put the legendary adjective on him, investor and hedge fund manager, founder, chief investment officer, managing director of Morgan Creek Capital Management. Buddies with Anthony Pompliano for all you Bitcoiners out there. We have Mark Yusko on the show today. Mark, we weren't sure if you were going to come. I would have worn the suit like last time.
No, I apologize. I was in Google Meets hell, and they didn't give me the StreamYard link. But okay, so we're good, and I appreciate you hanging that tag to up the ante to make sure that I do something notable today. And I will apologize up front. I could probably use no video today. I'm recovering from the stomach flu. It's been ravaging Chapel Hill, but so apologize for not looking so hot this morning.
Yeah, no worries. Well, for people that don't know, your fund, if this Google is correct, has an AUM of over $1 billion. So you're no stranger, to managing capital. What's up, Nick?
Pio's like, no worries. Yeah, you're not looking great, but it's all good. Like, why not be like, hey, Mark, you look great. Like that would have been like the proper. You're just like, you appreciate the apology.
You know, the apology was necessary, but we'll let it go. No, I'm just kidding.
Nick, I appreciate that because, you know, Rich, I appreciate that because, you know, he just went right past it. You know, I asked for the softball serve up. Oh, you don't look that bad. No, I do look bad. I get it. It's okay. But I'm not here for my looks. I'm here for my brains. Right. Okay. So let's talk.
Absolutely. Well, look, I want to talk about where we're at in the crypto cycle. I think that is one of the juicier topics of conversation to, you know, speak with you about, considering how long you've been in the game and how much skin you have in the game. But first off, how about GameStop, huh?
Look, I am such a huge fan of Roaring Kitty and the whole movement. And look, I'm from that world. I mean, you know, people call me a hedge fund manager. I'm not really a hedge fund manager. I fraternized with the hedge fund community for many, many years. And at one point in my career in the 80s, I was known as the Madonna of hedge funds. And what does that mean? Well, it means that I was that guy. I was working at the university at the time, and hedge funds were kind of like crypto today. It's where all the bad people were. And you know, good buttoned up institutions back when I wore a suit didn't, you know, fraternize with hedge funds. And I was like, wait, this is the smartest people in the world going to a structure, because all hedge fund is a legal structure, where you can maximize your compensation because you're paid 20% of the gains, the carried interest. And I like to invest with really smart people. That's been my job for 30 plus years. So that's what we did. And I'd be up on stage telling people to invest in hedge funds. And so I trafficked with a lot of the very best of the very best. My mentor for, you know, 20 years until he passed last year was Julian Robertson, and all the people that left Julian's shop who are pretty legendary. So even though I'm not a hedge fund guy per se, I played one on TV. And what I love, like I loved the movie Dumb Money, you know, because I know Ken Griffin really well. Like I invested with him not right in his dorm room at Harvard, but not long after, back in the late 90s, and have invested with him for you know, almost 30 years. And, you know, I know, you know, Stevie Cohen, and I thought the acting and the portrayals were perfect. Obviously so perfect that Ken didn't really like it. And so I guess he was kind of mad at the movie producers. But I find the whole thing awesome that a group of small investors can come together and do what markets are supposed to do. Like Gary Gens, I should never criticize the guy who regulates me. So Gary, I'm sorry. But he comes out this morning and says, you know, we're not pleased with this GameStop situation, and we need to investigate. What do you need to investigate, Gary? That markets actually work, right? I mean, what do you need to investigate? Now, what they need to investigate is, well, wait a minute, the people at the top that pay the bills don't like the fact that they're losing lots and lots of money. We saw it in the movie, right? What happens when things go against the elite? Well, they just change the rules. They shut down the game. Oh, Robinhood is broken. Just doesn't work today. Or trading halt. And look, trading halts are not a horrible idea. You know, when things move too much, it is intelligent to have a little pause. But generally speaking, that's a really long answer to how do you feel about what's going on in GameStop. And look, GameStop as a business, I mean, if you've been in one lately, it's not awesome. I mean, I take my 13-year-old and we buy Pokemon cards there, but I haven't bought anything of real value from a GameStop in a long time. And I don't think they make very much money as a business. So the equity of a company that doesn't, you know, produce a lot of profit shouldn't be worth very much. And so the shorts were doing their job, right? They're taking businesses that were propped up by cheap financing and pushing the stock to its normalized value. But the problem is when you push something too far, right? You take something, say from $20 or $30 down to single digits, you've compressed most of the badness out of the price. That last few dollars can be a problem. And I'll give you the best example. So Chase Coleman, very famous hedge fund manager, runs a firm called Tiger Global. He did amazingly well during the global financial crisis. So he was short the financials, short the insurance companies, short phony and fraudy, as I like to call them, Fannie and Freddie. And all these things went like this. And he was up a ton. And then on March 9th, 2009, what happened? President came on TV and said, I think now's the time to buy stocks. And suddenly the stock market turned around. Well, because they started issuing bonds and let the banks buy equities. Not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to be allowed, but they did. And the market starts to squeeze. And I was in his office and he literally throws this thing at me. And I'm like, what? He says, look at this. I'm like, okay, what is it, Chase? This is, the balance sheet of Citibank. This company is bankrupt. They have more liabilities than assets. I'm looking at it. Yep, you're right. I've been short this thing from $20 down to $1. This thing should be zero. I'm like, yeah, but Chase, it's gone from 1 to 5 and you're short and you're getting crushed. He says, yeah, I finally figured it out. It was inconvenient for too many people for Citigroup to go to zero. So it wasn't going to go to zero. And I think the same thing's true here. And look, GameStop and AMC, not systemically important. Okay, they're just not. I mean, no offense to the people that run those companies, but they're not like Citigroup. Citigroup's systematically important. We can't have that go to zero.
Yeah,
You can have GameStop and AMC go to zero.
Yeah, and just to kind of summarize, obviously sometimes it doesn't work out for the shorts, and that's ultimately, and there's a lot of history that's kind of aligned with this when it comes to when you just kind of look at traditional finance. We'll see what happens with GameStop. It's a crazy run in the past, like business day. It's completely insane. Trading already halted once today. The fact that they got it almost all-time high again is completely wild. I'd be curious, as someone that's invested in Bitcoin now for almost 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, based on what you talked about with us last time, and other crypto networks, by the way, not just Bitcoin. I know that we talked about Solana last time. Where do you think we are in the cycle? Because we had Ram Alawalia of Lumina Wealth, friend of the show, really smart guy. He said that he thinks that we are past mid-cycle. We hit a new all-time high before the halving, which was a first. We have a Bitcoin, Bitcoin ETFs approved for the first time ever, and obviously some crazy volume there. Then it cooled off. Now the volume's picking up again. Where are we in your mind in the cycle? Do you think we're just still at the beginning? Where do you think we go?
No. I mean, if we think about a 4-year cycle, and again, we talked about this last time, the 4-year cycle, it's hard coded, right? It's in the code of Bitcoin. And therefore it's therefore hard coded in everything else, because everything kind of feeds off Bitcoin at the top and then kind of rolls down. And what do I mean it's hard coded? Well, every 4 years, the block rewards, the rewards that are given to the miners to secure the network is cut in half. If you think about that, let's say all of you are running mining companies and you're getting your 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes and you're splitting it between you. So you're each getting about 1.25 Bitcoin for 10 minutes. And suddenly, like that, on April 19th, everybody wanted to be 420, but it was the 19th. On the 19th, it gets cut in half. So now you're getting 0.625 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Well, your electricity cost didn't change. Yep. Your cost of the rigs didn't change. So suddenly 2 out of the 5 of you need to go bankrupt, right? Or 2.5 of the 5 of you need to go bankrupt.
By the numbers, yeah.
Or the price will adjust to make everybody whole. And if you look at the previous cycles, that's exactly what happened. So it's mind-bendingly genius, actually, to hard code something that causes movement. And, it's not politically correct when I talk about this, but I'm going to say it anyway, that people don't like this point that I make, which is the reason the price movement is important is it creates interest, right? And since 85% of the people in this space are guys, and we have the hunter gene from millions of years ago, like someone just walked past, I look, right? If there's movement, I'm looking at it. If there's movement, I see it. And I tell the joke, which is not very funny. My wife hates it, but she said, Mark, get the ketchup. I go to the refrigerator. I open the door. Honey, there's no ketchup. She walks up. She grabs the ketchup bottle. It's right there. If it ain't moving, I can't see it, right? And that is real. So what happens is as the price starts to move, the traders come in. And the cycle is driven by different types of participants. So in the bear market, right, when things are going down, investors like that, right?
Yeah.
Investors like to buy things below fair value.
Yep.
That's what they do. Now, there are distressed investors that buy them while the price is going down. They don't wait for the bottom. They just buy anytime you get below fair value. They just buy because the problem is at the very bottom, it's tough because it starts to rebound. So the investors come in and buy things. And that's what happens in crypto winter and crypto spring. So we had crypto spring 2 years ago. And crypto spring is kind of like just muddy, bouncy, but the investors are there. As you start to get into crypto summer, now the traders show up because now there's movement. The price is starting to move back towards fair value.
They can make money.
Traders, they don't really care about value. They just want movement, right? They want to buy and sell. Well, then once you hit fair value and once the halving occurs, now what happens? Let's see. The fair value of Bitcoin was about 50K. Call it low 50s the other day. Okay. We had the halving. So now, in theory, either the fair value needs to jump up to 100K to make everybody whole. All you miners can make money. But there is a difference this time. And there are actually two differences this time. And one is now we have ordinals and runes, which are allowing inscriptions to be made on the Bitcoin blockchain, which means transaction fees are rising. Yep. So if block rewards are not the only way you guys get paid for running your mining organization, then maybe fair value doesn't have to go to 100. Maybe it only has to go to 80. Okay, 80 is still good. 80 is higher than where we are today at 62. All right, well, then what about this thing that we made a new all-time high before the halving? Well, yeah, we had a demand shock. So there was a massive demand shock in that you had approval of ETFs. So now all, my brethren and sister and the boomers, right? The boomers can now buy this thing because they don't want to deal with a wallet. They don't want to deal with cold storage. They just want to punch a button. They don't even want to punch a button, actually. They want to call on a phone, like even with a cord. Okay. They want to call their broker.
Yep.
And I talk about the digital divide all the time. Ask anyone over 35, who's your broker? I don't know, UBS, Merrill Lynch, why? How much gold do you have? I don't know, 3-4%. How much Bitcoin do you have? Oh my God, 0. Are you kidding me? It's a Ponzi scheme. Haven't you heard that Peter Schiff guy? How often you use DeFi? What the hell is DeFi?
Yeah.
Ask anyone under 35, who's your broker? What's a broker? I mean, I
use Robinhood.
I got Robinhood. Yeah. Okay. How much gold do you have? Oh my God, 0. Boomer rocks? Are you kidding me? Haven't you heard that Peter Schiff guy? How much Bitcoin do you have? I don't want to talk about it. Why not? It's like a really big percentage of my net worth. I'm kind of embarrassed. All right. How often do you use DeFi? Every day. So that digital divide is so real, but the boomers control all the assets today, right? That's why Vanguard made the decision they made. Vanguard said, we're not going to let you trade ETFs. Why? Because they don't care about y'all. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but they look at the group of people below kind of 45 and say, someday they'll have a lot of money. But right now, all the people 65 and older have all the money. We want them as clients. We don't want to piss them off by saying we love Bitcoin. So fine, we'll be that one. And they actually got more inbound than outbound. So there are all the stories about, people, having their $2,000 account leave. Okay, fine. That's great. And stand for something. And I even did the buy BYE, buy Vanguard, right? Leave Vanguard with the sinking ship. But I never had a Vanguard account, so it didn't really matter. But UBS, I have a UBS account, my Family Harmony account with my brother-in-law. And I can't, see, there's movement. I saw it. You can't actually buy the ETFs at UBS yet. Now, eventually you will. And so what's happening is this transition from the old guard, which controls all the capital, to the new guard, right? Like I say this all the time. I'll use a prop. So I have 3 grandkids. My youngest is 1. She will never have one of these. She will
just uses the
never
phone.
have
Yeah.
a physical wallet, right? She'll never have a leather wallet. She'll never use paper money. She will have a totally different life. She's a Zoomer, right? She's a Gen A. And so that is going to happen. And all these people, Gary Gensler and Joe Biden and all these people, Elizabeth freaking Warren, you know, the devil herself, they think they can stop it, right? They think they can put the genie back in the bottle. But this is technology. This is not a thing. This is not a meme. This is a technological evolution.
Yep.
And Bitcoin itself, if you spend even 1 hour, right? Looking at it, not 10 minutes, but 1 hour. Now, 10 hours is better, 100 hours is better, 10,000 hours is awesome. But 1 hour, if you spend 1 hour looking at the technology, you understand, you have that aha moment that it is the operating system, right? The operating system for the future of compute and of money. And triple entry accounting is one of the greatest inventions of my lifetime. It's in the top 3 or 4. And people say, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm like, no, it is, because we're replacing trust with truth.
Yep.
Trust is a really tough thing, right?
Yeah, you have to trust another human being, and historically, that's just basically never worked out. And it
certainly never works out because of, you know, the all-seeing eye. The people at the top, they're not trustworthy. I hate to say it, but they don't care about the rest of us. They exist to maximize their, right, windfall. And look, this is the history of empires for millennia, not even for, you know, tens of years or hundreds of years. For thousands of years, we have had people, okay, small groups of people take power and become an empire. And that empire eventually goes from a republic, right, a unified, cohesive, we all believe the same things, to a democracy, to a autocracy, ultimately to a kleptocracy. Well, what does that mean? So the people at the top say, well, you know what? If I elect all my friends and we have cronyism instead of capitalism, then we can all get super rich. Well, how do we do that? Well, we just take from the people down below. And so you get this amazing pyramid. And what happens is when you get to the tippy top, take the Roman Empire. What'd they do? Every new emperor, right, as they took over new space, wanted their own Colosseum and their own circus and their own. Well, how'd they do that? They literally took the coins that were made of gold or silver, and they would melt them down and add other elements, and they'd make smaller coins.
It literally debased the currency. And I was going to say,
debased the currency, right? And so then what happened is, guess what happened? The soldiers that protected the republic or the empire said, you know what? I need more of those. If the coins are smaller, I need more. That's called inflation. So the inflation of wages for soldiers went skyrocketing. And when it got to the point that the emperors couldn't pay them, guess what happened? They stopped working, and the Huns came in and took over. End of Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And so then a new empire forms, and the same thing happens, and a new empire forms, and the same thing happens. And now we got the American Empire, and we are at the tippy top for now, but we're doing everything we can. The current administration, and it's not a political comment, it was equally bad last time, and it's worse this time, which is hard to believe, but it's doing everything it can to fuck this up.
Yeah, I mean, currency debasement is just running wild. I mean, a film just came out, Finding the Money. That's the message of the film is basically like currency debasement is okay. Don't worry about it, right? So that's kind of like what we're living through right now.
Oh, Stephanie Kelton is the dumbest person on the planet. Okay. She literally is the dumbest person on the planet. And and again, it's not politically correct either, but because she's attractive, and I don't mean hot. I mean, when people are attractive, right? When people are talking heads, when they're attractive, you trust them, right? And again, I just mean not.
That's why people watch this show, Mark.
Well, you guys are all good looking. It is true. I mean, you guys are all good looking, but
someone would say the best looking.
The fact I'm not going to pick. I don't play. They're all. I love you all equally. It's like my children. I love them all equally. But I think the challenge here is she has convinced the current administration, and that's everybody, not just the president and the vice president, but the whole of them, that this ridiculous idea of MMT, modern monetary theory, which is really modern monetary madness. Look, if creating wealth were as simple as printing money, wouldn't every country just do that?
Yes.
Well,
yes. I mean, of course. Like if I could create wealth by printing pieces of paper or ones and zeros on a computer, I would do that.
Mark, let Nick ask a question because we saw the documentary together and Nick was on board. So Nick, please.
No, I was going to say it wasn't as simple as that, because that's where I was like, let's say you just print it. I was like, you're still avoiding the main problem. The thesis there was actually redirection of resources, which was essentially saying, hey, you can print the money to go use it for proper uses. The problem where this goes wrong, there's multiple problems with where this goes wrong. It goes wrong where the government's not an efficient allocator of capital. So you see, there was something that I saw the other day where they were some guy, one of the Congress people was saying, why is this bag of bushings for a tank or whatever it was? Why is it $9,000 when you can just get this hardware for 50 cents? Why is this costing the price that it costs? I think the other thing is who the hell trusts Congress to go allocate proper things at this point in time? We can't get infrastructure projects. The political advocacy that was going on there was a little crazy, outside of the fact that it was talking about I do think where it could be allocated is infrastructure projects. The problem again still comes back to that there's people who are profiting off a lot of that. But I do think there were some compelling. I didn't buy the whole thing only to the degree that the implementation of it doesn't make sense. But I felt like the accounting side of it is does make sense. And then you see huge corporations that have so much money on the books, Warren Buffett, during what was discussing the other day, and he's like, none of us on stage can figure out how to deploy this much capital, basically. And
well, Gary Rich, I mean, Nick, you have so many points. I'm tongue tied because I don't normally get to be around royalty. I mean, it's kind of funny when you see somebody online all the time. You're like, is that person really real? And here I am talking to you. That's actually really cool.
This is a moment that you get to. You're welcome for being allowing my presence.
I appreciate it very, very much. So many great points that you brought up, and then the question came in at the same time about it's just all fractional reserve banking that's the problem. No. It's the fractional reserve banking run amok because of corruption. And what I mean by that is fractional reserve banking, I will argue, is the greatest invention other than fire and electricity and a few other things. Because I ask people all the time, name a country that you would live in that has a bad or non-existent fractional reserve system. I'll wait, right? Because there's not one. There's not one. That's what separates habitable places from inhabitable places. Well, why is that? Because the notion of us collectively pooling our resources and using the idle resources to fund growth is mad genius. And it was the Knights Templar that came up with this, right? I mean, literally the Illuminati in Portugal in the 1100s, and then the Medici stole it and created the whole banking system 838 years ago. So it's not fractional reserve banking that's the problem. It's fractional reserve banking run amok. There's a limit on how many turns of the equity you can have, call it 11 or 12. Anytime you get to greater than that, like Lehman or Deutsche Bank or whatever, then it breaks down. Well, why does it get to a higher level than that? Well, because the governments come in and they change the rules in their favor to this point of why does a bag of bushings cost $9,000? Well, because they can. Because nobody says, well, that's wrong.
Well, and to sum it up, Mark, It's because it's not on a hard money standard too. Like that's a huge part of it, right? If you can go debase the hell out of the currency, that's a variable that was never factored in. Like you're not supposed to.
Well, no, it's more insidious than that. It's way more insidious than that. It's all about theft and corruption, like Ukraine, right? Let's talk about Ukraine. The money goes to Ukraine, okay? It actually doesn't stay in Ukraine. It comes back to U.S. companies that produce those tanks using those $9,000 bushings. So you need the tanks to be really, really expensive. So those companies that are owned by the congressmen and senators, think about that for a second. They own the companies that they're sending the money back to. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? That is, if you look up the word money laundering in the dictionary, it would be a picture of that.
Did you read an economic hitman back in the day?
Tales of an economic
hit? No, exactly.
And it's basically the same thing, but theirs was through like lending money through IMF, I guess.
IMF.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, look, that economic hitman, look, if I go to a country where I want their stuff, let's use, I don't know if you guys have watched the Jack Ryan series. Amazing. So good. And
historical.
No, it is historical. So Venezuela, why do we give a shit about Venezuela? Tantalum, right? People say, well, what the hell is tantalum? Tantalum is a rare earth mineral. It goes into every cell phone. It only produced 2 places in the world. And they happen to have, in the jungles of Venezuela, lots of this tantalum. So what do? We put in a puppet, Maduro. And then what does he do? He destroys the economy by cutting off oil production and creating massive inflation. So then we can lend them money that they will then default on, so we can take the tantalum. And you go back in history, whether it was Nicaragua, whether it was, hell, there's so many examples of it. Well, now that is why China is where China is. Everybody's like, China sucks and China's terrible. Like, why are we passing all these rules against China this morning? Because they're kicking our ass. Well, what do you mean they're kicking our ass? We're kicking their ass. Their stock market's down. Yeah, we have fomented since 2021, since the new administration came in. And look, Trump was loud about, I hate China. Biden never said it, but everyone on both sides of the aisle said, we can hate China now? Great. So we'll pass all these laws against China. But quietly, China did this economic hitman strategy. They went all over Africa, all over India, all over Pakistan, and they lent them money. Greece, they own all the big ports in Greece. Why? Because when Greece went bankrupt, they said, hey, here's some money. And when you can't pay us back, we'll just take over the port, because that's a nice thing to have. And so this system's been going on for a long time, but it starts as theft, right? It starts as channeling the money up to the top. It ends with devaluation, because the only way, think about this, for 5,000 years, which is an amazing period of time, gold is the only money in the world. What is money? Money is an asset that exists in the absence of a liability, right? And we've tried puka shells, we've tried stone wheels, but gold, for different reasons, became the thing. We could use platinum or silver, but gold has really been it. And a single ounce for 5,000 years, right? From Cleopatra's time to a suit of armor, to a zoot suit in the 20s, to Savile Row today, if you take a single ounce and you give it to the shopkeep, they will give you a fine person's suit. Awesome, right? It's been a perfect store of value. In that same time, 5,000 years, there have been 775 paper currencies from different republics all around the world. 3/4 of them disappeared, gone.
Look at that.
Gone. Why? Because governments operate the same way, right? They get to the top and then they turn from capitalism to cronyism, and then they get to the top and they just spend and they spend and they spend and they get in debt. And when you're in debt, you got 4 choices. You can pay it back. In the United States, if we taxed everyone's wealth, we could not pay back the debt. Forget income. If we taxed everyone's wealth, we could not pay back the debt. Okay, that's a problem. So you can restructure it.
Just pay it in like 4 weeks of income. I'm exaggerating here, but like, couldn't Apple and Google and Microsoft basically just get together and be like, all right, guys, we solved it?
Well,
You're missing the point, Nick.
No. I mean, they couldn't actually, because those three companies together, they could retire 1 trillion of the 35. Now remember, a trillion.
All right.
A trillion is a big number. A trillion, we'd have to sit here together for the next 31,710 years. And I promise that would be most unpleasant. I mean, I'm a fun guy, but I'm not that fun. 31,710 years. And we got to spend $1 a second. $1 a second for 31,000 years is 1 trillion. So yes, if you take the cash from Microsoft and Apple and Google, we could retire 1 of the 35 trillion. But there's no way we could pay back all 35. But we don't need to, right? Why? Because you could restructure it. Not so much, because someone would have to take the 60 cents or 70 cents on the dollar, and everyone said, screw that. No. Okay, you can default on it. Well, if you default, then you get kicked out of power. And no one who's in power is going to let that happen. So the only way out is to devalue it. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are devaluing the currency. It's why you go to lunch, it costs $20 instead of 10 5 years ago and 20 years ago. It's the same stuff. I grew up in Seattle, Washington, right? My first car, I put gas in 33 cents a gallon. 33 cents a gallon. I went back to see my son in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, filled up the rental car, $6.33. It's the same gallon of gas. It does the exact same thing. It's actually a little less good because it's got ethanol in it now.
And our technology has gotten better, so it should be easier to get that gas into that pump.
Amen. That's an amazingly good point, right? The hedonic adjustments should make it even cheaper. But it's not. It's more expensive. And it's not because it's better. It's because the money's worse. And this is the thing about Bitcoin, right? I'm wearing my orange shirt today for Bitcoin Day. So here it is, right? Why is Bitcoin price go up? Bitcoin doesn't get better. It doesn't grow. It doesn't change. The money gets worse. So every time the money gets worse, like 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin and will always be 1 Bitcoin, right? It's like this building that I'm sitting in today. Okay, this building, in theory, according to real estate brokers, appreciates in value. The building doesn't grow, right? It actually wears out a little bit. They got to fix it. They got to put money into it. The land doesn't get bigger. It's just that the money used to buy it gets less good. So you got to pay more to buy it. Now, ultimately, all of this is interconnected in that there's only so much growth in a global economy, right? There's only so much human creativity and productivity. Unless we liberate this, and Jimmy's song, you guys have Jimmy on sometime, but Jimmy articulates this so well. He says that in the world in which we live, right, we're all slaves. And I know it's a politically charged word. Nobody likes that word, but we are, right? If you work for a salary, you're a slave. What do you mean you're a slave? You're a slave in the sense that you're paid in a currency that can be taken away from you.
Yep.
Through inflation. Inflation is a stealth wealth tax. So you are forced to be part of the consumer economy and spend your money before it goes away. Okay, well, how about if we got paid in an asset like Bitcoin that appreciates over time? Well, wait a second. Now I'm not forced to act tomorrow. I can actually think about what I want to do. I can actually unleash the most powerful force in mankind's history, human creativity. And the point is that we will have more innovation, and we're seeing it with the release of ChatGPT 4. I don't even know how you pronounce it, 4.0, 4, whatever. That type of stuff will continue to evolve as people get to spend more time on creativity and less time on the menial. And people are like, oh no, it'll erase all of our jobs. Yep, here's the thing. Over time, technology has erased millions of jobs. There are no more street sweepers, pushing horse poop out of the street. That doesn't happen anymore.
People
there are
changing
no
the candle
more
wax,
train porters, candle makers. There are no more. Okay, there are more jobs today than any time in human history. Full stop. Right? Because there are new things that we do, and we find ways. Like Amazon last year in 23. I love this stat. Amazon was more than 100% of the net new jobs.
That's nuts.
What an amazing stat. That company didn't exist 27 years ago, and they created more than 4 million new jobs. I'm sorry, no, they have 4 million people under employed, not 4 million new jobs. They have 4.5 million people employed. So the evolution of technology, the integration of those new technologies, it's all super positive. And look, meme stocks, yeah, a little bit of distraction, entertainment, gambling, fun. That's great. That's good. Real assets doing real things. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Oh, I hate now he's a shitcoiner because he likes something.
No,
besides
all right.
Bitcoin.
So I want to dig into this, Mark. This is great, and I'm glad that we got here. So real quick, just one point on what you said. The Finding the Money documentary. They didn't talk about the janitor that's living paycheck to paycheck getting debased, right? That's not someone that got factored in. And you brought up
shocking that they didn't talk about that.
Yeah. And then you talked about Ukraine. Ukraine ain't getting funding the way that it did if it was Bitcoin that we had to send over there. I think that goes without saying, right? I mean, when you can create the money and, debase the currency and send that money you just created somewhere else, that's the only way that works. It doesn't work if you have to take your treasury allocation of Bitcoin and just give it to somebody else, because that's real money. You're not getting that back. You can't make more of that. So we know why you like Bitcoin, why you buy Bitcoin. Why do you buy Solana? I'm asking because we love Solana. We all own Solana. We have an NFT project on Solana. We're building on Solana. But me and Nick had a conversation where I said, Nick and I were talking, and the disagreement was we agreed that comparing Bitcoin and Solana is apples and oranges, but Nick said they are both fruits. And I actually argue that they're not both fruits. That's my argument. I think that Solana and Ethereum are both fruits.
It might be fruit and vegetable, and a lot of people confuse fruits and vegetables. Like, what's a tomato, fruit or vegetable?
But not both fruits.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They are both.
Oh God, thank you. That was such an important question that needed to be answered, Theo. Just to solve this debate that they're not both fruits or vegetables. And crypto, in one way or another, they're on a blockchain. Bitcoin was the first one that successfully implemented a blockchain. And that's like the foundation of it. And that's
Nick's right. No, Nick's exactly right. That's gonna be my answer, right? Nick's exactly right. They're blockchains. And everybody says, no, Bitcoin not blockchain. I'm like, shut the hell up. Bitcoin is a blockchain. Whether you like it or not, Bitcoin is a blockchain.
Of course it is.
Bitcoins. There's big B Bitcoin.
And little B Bitcoin, yeah.
And there's little B Bitcoin, the network. The little B Bitcoin is a blockchain network. It is the most powerful computing system in the history of the world. It is more powerful, 1,500 times more powerful than the CERN supercomputer. And the CERN supercomputer, pretty powerful. So yes, they're all fruits, so to speak. But at the end of the day, they are very different in that Bitcoin is and I think will be the monetary base of the future of money, right? It is digital gold. It is scarce and it is easily divisible and easily portable. I use the example all the time. Like if I were Kyle Bass, if you were talking to Kyle Bass, which would be fun if you had him on sometime, and I would reach under my desk because he has a gigantic 26 kilogram gold coin from Australia that he keeps under his desk in a safe. And if I had that and I wanted to break into 6 pieces, I'm not strong enough to do that, right? So, and even if I could break into 6 pieces, I couldn't stuff it in the computer and send you each a piece of it. But if I want to send you Bitcoin, a couple taps, easy. It's more divisible, more portable. So it is the perfect thing to become the base layer of money. And then we build on top of that, L2s, L3s, L4s, etc.
Yep.
Money, right? Gold is money. I said gold is money. But do you carry gold around in your pocket? Hell to the no. No one does.
It's money 1.0. It's old.
You don't even use money. Use a plastic card, which is a database on a mainframe computer running on COBOL, Visa or MasterCard. Once a month, you settle up to money. You settle up through ACH down to the FedWire at the bank, and then they settle up, with the central bank that holds the gold. So all of that is the stack of monetary base. That I think will be replaced by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is different than Ethereum, Solana, etc. And there's a whole bunch of others that are other forms of global computers. They are blockchains that have functionality for doing other things. And Ethereum is interesting in the sense that it was the first global compute. There was the highest level of development, and still today, more development than anything else. But here's the thing. I asked this question, and the Ethereum people get mad at me. I'm like, if Ethereum didn't exist and was invented today, would anybody use it? Because they have Solana. Now, my one beef with Solana is it gets congested and it shuts down, and not all the transactions settle. And I said they got vaporized once. And I'm like, oh no, they don't. I mean, we never rolled back the. I said, you didn't roll back the chain. That's not my point. But if I send a transaction out and it doesn't settle, and I don't resend it, then it didn't happen. It's like, again, not politically correct. If a man says something in the forest, there's not a woman there to hear it. Is he still wrong? So, but I like Solana, not just because we were early investors. And again, it wasn't me, it was Kyle. We invested in Kyle's first fund and they bought a bunch of Solana. And actually, it's the best investment I've ever had in my career. I think we made like 2,000 times our money. Crazy.
Kyle Davies?
No. Kyle Samani.
Okay.
Kyle Samani. Yeah, Kyle Davis. No, not Kyle Davis.
You said Kyle. Yeah.
Kyle Samani and Tushar Jain run a firm called Memecoin Capital. One of the most successful venture funds in history. Really amazing. And they were early. They were, if you go back in time, there was Pantera, Dan Moorhead, number one, like the first. Now the blockchain capital guys, they know we were first. I'm like, Dan was first, you were second. But those two guys were the leaders. And then arguably either Morgan Creek Digital or Multicoin or somebody was the third, and then Placeholder and a few others. And then later came A16Z Crypto and Paradigm, and they're all wildly successful. But there were early adopters, and Tushar and Kaya were one of those. And so we got exposure to Solana. And what I do like about Solana is it is faster, it is cheaper. If I wanted to send remittances around the world, I would probably use a Phantom wallet in USDC. It's just faster, cheaper. Yep. Now, you got to convince other people that that's the right way to do it. It's like, we are investors in Strike, and I love Strike, and I love Jack Mallers.
I'm also an investor in Strike. Yeah.
And Strike is great because it uses the Bitcoin blockchain to send money anywhere in the world for free. Well, free is the wrong number, right? It shouldn't be 15% like Western Union, but free doesn't make any money. So we got to figure out a way to charge something. And I think with Phantom, you have that. So ultimately, I think the amount of development on Solana is interesting, right? It's been picking up pretty dramatically. Now, it's still a big gap between Ethereum development and Solana development. But in this world, and I've been lucky that this is what I got paid to do for 35 years, is I got paid to talk to smart people and invest with them on behalf of other people. And so I invested in the early days of Kleiner Perkins Coffee Buyers and Sequoia and Mayfield and Accel and all the Silicon Valley glitterati. And then people like Founders Fund and True Ventures and the next generation. And now there's a whole new generation of micro VCs that are really interesting. But venture capitalists get to see things early, and they get to adopt these new technologies before they are understood. And what that does is it gives you this sense of follow the talent, right? Bottom line, follow the talent. When the talent migrates in one direction, you're onto something.
There's some of the things you were mentioning about all the different chains. I agree with the talent. And actually, I agree with, I view that as like where development activity is happening. Someone had sent me a list, or I forget who it was that had sent a list. There's like a website that aggregates which chains have the highest development activity. Yep. My biggest frustration with like Solana is actually it's not developer friendly. Whereas you said, hey, would Ethereum still exist? And my short answer is probably, but only because Solidity actually sucks also. That's just my opinion. but you don't see it. It's easier, or it's more digestible and understandable than the code that Solana is built with.
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest drivers of adoption, building on a blockchain, is interesting because it's decentralized, because you can't be, well, theoretically, depending on who controls the nodes, but you can't, it's uncensorable.
Yeah,
that's debatable depending on how decentralized the network is. So there's a use case that exists there, and there's an inherent like economic dynamic built into the network versus like I go pay AWS for their resources. In this case, the node operators get paid for providing those services. So there's something very compelling there. I just think it's really difficult at this moment in time, still yet to date. Like you wouldn't go build a website and deploy it on a blockchain necessarily. Although I know there's people with ordinals that like try and deploy JavaScript and HTML. But there's just such a lot. I think there's a ways to go when it comes to that aspect. I also think it's comparable to mesh networks is like an example of something where if you get enough people in the system, well, then the whole network is, it's not free. It's the cost of your service provider that you end up using in that case. But
no, that's a great point. So I got to run, guys, but I'll leave you with this one thought, which is we are so early.
Yeah.
Right. If you go back to the web development in the late 60s, 70s, into the 80s, there were 80 internet protocols, all kinds of different protocols, mostly developed by DARPA and government agencies. And today we use about 5. And right now, you and I, we're all using voice over internet protocol, okay, using TCP/IP to communicate. That's the base layer of the web. And then you got FTP that moves files. You got SMTP that moves emails. You got HTTPS that makes websites work, to Nick's point. And then you got www that ties it all together. And you got a few other things, but that's basically the web stack. Now we had Web 1, which was read, and I've been shilling Chris Dixon's book, right? Read, Write, Own. Everyone should read it. So there was Web 1, it was read, interact with websites, kind of boring, but it got information to be ubiquitous. Web 2, now you could post things, you could interact, read, write, you could write to the internet, and these centralized authorities made all the money, Facebook, Instagram, et cetera. Well, now in Web 3, we got read, write, own. The problem is we're still in that 80 protocols thing. There's all these protocols and they're all competing. We don't know if we're going to have one chain to rule all chains. I call that the Lord of the Rings, right? Bitcoin, L2, L3, L4, ordinals, runes is starting to go in that direction. Maybe. Or we could have like the replication of the web, right? Which is Bitcoin at the base layer, Filecoin is FTP. You got Ethereum as the www. But then I don't know what is SMTP and HTTPS. Or we could have all these L1s, and all the L1s do different things. And we have a new paradigm, and then we got bridges to make them cross collateral. The problem is the bridges up to this point, except for Chainlink. I know Chainlink guys think I'm wrong, but the bridges, too many attack vectors. So I don't know which way we're going to end up, but that's the cool part. We're still so early. There's a lot of opportunity in coming, because 10 years from now, we'll look back and say, oh, it was so obvious. And we'll know the answer. But until then, you guys have been great. And we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Nick, some closing thoughts from Mark?
The main thing was, doesn't Web 2 or whatever you want to call it, read, write, need to actually have some threshold of pain before people actually adopt the third Web 3?
All right. Well, I'll come back and we'll talk about that because, of course, right? I've tried to go to every decentralized app out there to get away from Twitter. I'll never call it X. And I can't. I keep coming back because you go to, Warpcaster and I say something, it's crickets, not because I'm uninteresting, because there's no one there. And I just come back to Twitter because everybody's there. So yes, there has to be a pain point that makes you migrate. I got to run. You guys have been great. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mark. Mark Yusko, ladies and gentlemen, of Morgan Creek Digital. Second time on the show. We absolutely love having him on.
Remember, Bitcoin's a fruit.
That was so funny. Ladies and gentlemen, we do this show Monday.
Acknowledge that I was right, that I may understand Bitcoin better than you, Pio. Are you gonna acknowledge that?
Oh
That's
yeah,
what he was basically saying.
big time. We'll see who has more Bitcoin in 5 years, you or me, buddy. Because you're gonna jam on that sell
Not the
button.
challenge. That's not what the question was about. It's about knowledge. It's about knowledge.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, the show happens Monday through Friday. Really glad, by the way, that the YouTube commenters and the X platform commenters were big supporters of Mark.
Outside of the anti-Semitic ones that just hopped in all of a sudden, I was cleaning those up.
Oh, I missed those gentlemen. Sorry to hear that they thought that they should weigh in with their opinions there. And Bachelor Society, of course, making very good points. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, Twitter Spaces, X platform video, as we're calling it, I guess, Twitter video, YouTube, and of course, Apple and Spotify podcasts is where you can find this show. I really think that a lot of the stuff that Mark discussed was very in line with the GME Roaring Kitty, stick it to the man in traditional finance conversation that we started the show off with. So that was really fun. We will be back tomorrow. Clemente, do you have a song ready? Because I don't have my phone connected.
Do I?
Yeah, here we go. Anywhere you want.